Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm CS Jaspreet. Continuing with our CSED series which I started earlier, and I'll put the link in the description box below of the previous video. This is in continuation with that only. The subject is business communication and the topic is English grammar and its usage. If you've not subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for all the updates. Today we will start with the topic of voices. Voices are of two types, active voice, passive voice. Active voice sentences are shorter, direct and emphatic. You have to be very careful. Like active voice is the sentences which are normally which we talk in a straight way, in a shorter way, in a direct way. The best way to define active voice is in a direct way. Whatever the sentences we use in our normal way, in a direct way, that are the sentences that is called active voice. Like we say, follow the traffic rules while driving. Simple. When it comes to active voice, the sentences are direct, the sentences are shorter, the sentences are emphatic. That means the simple sentences, the normal sentences, the sentences which we speak in a normal language, in a normal way. I would say in a normal way, the sentences we speak are the active voices. Passive voice. Passive voice is more suitable while drafting legal formulations as no identifiable subject can be mentioned. Now, passive voice, you can say it's a kind of indirect sentences, like the thing that can be said in a straightforward manner is twisted a bit. Now, and these are more suitable while drafting legal formulations, but as you are entering this course, you will see drafting in your next stages, but that we'll talk about in next stage as well. But there is no identifiable subject that can be mentioned. Like in active voice, we say follow the traffic rules while driving, but in passive voice, we say the traffic rules should be followed while driving, right? The thing is same, but it is said in a way that is a bit, you can say, twisted. So as a general rule, we should use active voice in our sentences. When we speak sentences, they are in a direct format, they are shorter, they are like said in a simple way. So that is active voice only. I'll give you more examples, like please place the order within 60 days of the receipt of the quotation. Simple. It's a thing that is told in a straightforward manner. Then passive voice, as I'm telling you, it is a bit twisted. Right. The things are twisted in a way that it should be followed. It should be done. That should be done. Right. In simple ways, you can say, do this thing. Right. So this is the main difference between active voice and passive voice. And this is what active voices and passive voices. Simply understand the direct sentences, the sentences which we speak in normal way, in a normal daily life, that are active voices, and the sentences that are being used in legal drafts or in which there is no identifiable subject, that are passive voices. Then what are articles? There are three articles: a, an and the. These three words are called articles and they come before nouns, right? A, and the. Following, see, using these articles, I think we started, and I think we in schools we get to know about it at a very early age. I don't remember the class, but at a very early age, we know where to use a. When you're using for a single word, you have to use a. Where you have to use an. For an, we use an before the vowels, that is a, e, I, o, u. When we use any word that starts with a vowel, that is a, e, I, o, u, before that we use the word and the is used for a particular name, for a particular place. So these are just basic things. I don't think I need to tell you where to use a, an and the, but these three words are the articles. Now there are two types of articles further. There is active article and there is I'm really sorry, there is definite article and there is indefinite article. Definite article, which is, pointing a particular thing, a particular person. As I told you, when you use the article the article is used for a particular thing, for a particular person. That is a definite article. And for indefinite article, we have a, and. These two are indefinite articles. So they are used before a single word. A is used before a single word, and an is used with the vowels, that is A, E, I, O, U. Right. I need not explain it much, but yes, these are the articles a, and the. Moving forward to tenses. Now in tenses, we have three tense: present tense, past tense, future tense. Actually, this is past tense, present tense, future tense. It should be like that. Past is which has been past, right? And present in which we are living, and future which will come. There are various types of tenses further. So, like there is, if we talk about past, we will be using was, were. If we talk about present, we will use is, are. And if we talk about future, we will use will, shall. Talking about starting with the present, right? Now it is further classified. If you call simple present, I read a book. Right. If you talk about present continuous, I will say I am reading a book. Continuous means a thing which is going on, that is continuous. Present perfect, I have read a book. And present perfect continuous, I have been reading a book. This is deeply studying the tenses. So starting with the present tense, right? Simple present tenses in the simple sentences which we use in present tenses in present lives, that is a simple present tense. When you come to the continuous part of any tense, right? Simple present, simple past, simple future is the simple sentences that will be we use with is, are, or was, were, or will, shall. Talking about the continuous part is the tense in which we are saying that the thing is continuously happening. Right. The thing, we are presently reading a book. Right. I am reading a book, or I was reading a book, or I shall be reading a book. So there is a difference in all these things. Right. I will be or I shall be reading a book. If you talk about the sentences, that is the thing with the examples. Chalo, I'll start with the present only. Simple present, I will say I read a book. In present continuous, continuous means a thing which is going on, which is happening continuously. I will say I am reading a book. Present perfect, I have read a book. Right. It is present perfect, like a thing which is gone, but I'm telling you in the present. I have read a book. And present perfect continuous, that we take from present perfect only. I have been reading a book. We'll add this been to it. Right. Talking about the past. In simple past, suppose I will say I jumped from the window. This is simple past. I jumped from the window. Past continuous, I was jumping from the window. Add the was and make it continuous. I was jumping from the window. Past perfect, I had jumped from the window. And past perfect continuous, I had been jumping from the window. In past perfect continuous, you will add a word been and ing to the word. Ing means making it continuous, like it was jumped or jump and I made it jumping. So this is the past tense. Talking about the future, the sentences like I shall or will jump, you can use any of the two. I shall or will jump. Future continuous, I shall or will be jumping, I made it continuous. Future perfect, I shall or will have jumped. Right, adding have to it. And future perfect continuous, I shall or have been jumping. These are the basic things or basic rules. According to me, don't go into too much rules of studying the tenses. Tenses is, it defines your English, and never go by read a sentence. If you really want to understand what tenses are, keep on reading different kinds of books, English books. So you actually, or English books or English novels or English newspapers, anything that is in English. Now what will happen, you will actually get an idea that this sentence should be like this. There is no need of any rules, there's no need of any 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 learning of any formulas or anything, you will yourself understand that yes, I am talking in this tense. Am I talking in present, or am I talking in past, or am I talking in future? And it should be written like that. And trust me, you will never be wrong, never be wrong. You may be using by using formulas, you yourself get confused. Don't do that. Try to make sentences and try to, when you speak a sentence and when you hear that, trust me, you actually understand that whether it's right or wrong. If you are used to listening to English, if you're used to reading to English, you yourself will know what a tense is and how a sentence is correctly tensed. Okay. Moving further to sentence. Now, what is a sentence? A group of words which makes complete sense is a sentence. I don't think I need to tell you much because everybody knows what is a sentence. It has two parts, subject and predicate. Subject is the part about which we are actually speaking, the subject of the sentence, right? The person or the thing we are speaking about, that is the subject. And predicate is the part which tells something about the subject, right? Subject is for which, for whom, or the person or the place for which you're making the statement, you're making the sentence. And predicate is telling something about the subject itself. Now there are different types of sentences as well. We have clauses in it as well, like principal or main clause and dependent or subordinate clause. Now what is a clause? It's a group of words that form as part of a sentence and has a subject and a predicate of its own. Right. It also forms, but it forms a part of a sentence and it has a subject and predicate of its own. The clause that makes good sense by itself and hence could stand by itself as a separate sentence. That is called a principal or main clause. A clause that has its own sense and it can be used as a separate sentence as well. And a sentence and a clause which cannot stand by itself and makes good sense but not complete sense, right? It makes good sense but not complete sense. That is called dependent or subordinate clause, right? So these are the type of sentences I am talking about. These are the type of sentences. Moving further to sentence construction. Now, how a sentence is constructed? It is constructed on two bases, on the basis of complexity and on the basis of length. In case of complexity, we have loose sentences and we have periodic sentences. Loose sentences are suited to simple style of letter writing and are closer to the spoken form. Loose sentences, generally the English which we use, or generally it's a simple style of letter writing and are closer to the spoken form, the way we speak English, and they begin with the main statement and develop to its logical conclusion. Like I give you example, like we say, the Reserve Bank of India intervened in the forex market as there were strong rumors about an intense speculative activity caused by the spurt in imports. This is a loose sentence. It's like a straightforward sentence in a simple style of letter writing, and it's like a closer to a spoken form. Talking about the periodic sentences, they are decorous and emphatic but more difficult to write. They're very decorous, they're very emphatic, emphasizing kind of sentences, but they are very, very difficult to write because the order is reversed and the main statement is made at the end. These are kind of, complex English, maybe used in very fine books or very fine newspapers, or are spoken by very fine people who speak very good English. In that, what they do, the main sentence is at the end, so you actually need lot of concentration and lot of good vocabulary to understand, okay, what are they actually saying. Now the statement which I put on earlier as a loose sentence will be a periodic sentence if I say that as there were strong rumors about an intense speculative activity caused by the spurt in imports, the Reserve Bank of India intervened in the forex market. Now that was a loose sentence, that was very straight. No, that could be understood easily, but here it became a periodic sentence because it became more decorous, it became more emphatic, and as well as difficult to write because the main subject went to the end and the order got reversed. Okay. Then talking about the sentence construction on the basis of length. There can be shorter sentences as well as there can be longer sentences. In case there are shorter sentences, they are easier to write as well as understand. But a long sequence of short sentences may not make a very pleasant reading. Yes, you know, you have to write English in such a form that definitely doesn't get irritating. If you make too many short sentences, then you're making a long sequence of short sentences, and that's not a very pleasant reading. If you're making short sentences, try to use it one or two. Don't make a whole paragraph of short sentences, then try to make long sentences. Like if I say, thank you for the order, the goods will be sent soon, the duplicate copy of bill is enclosed, the payment must be made early. These are shorter sentences, but not very pleasant to read. Longer sentences, they are prone to grammatical errors. Yes, because shorter sentences are easy to form and can be formed by amateur as well. But when you talk about longer sentences, it takes a lot of English, a lot of good vocabulary, lot of tenses, lot of verbs, lot of this, lot of that. So that is why you are prone to make grammatical errors there, and you need careful thought and planning. Because when you make longer sentences, I'll tell you what, sometimes while making them, your interpretation and the meaning also changes by using, if you don't use the correct tense, if you don't use the correct words, the correct verbs, the meaning could also be interpreted differently. The meaning could also change. So you need careful thought and planning. Such efforts at constructing marathon sentences should be avoided. Now, it may be a good idea to mix the shorter and longer sentences to sustain the interest of the reader. This is very important. If you make too many long sentences, now what happens in case of short sentences? Also, the readings get irritated. If you read good books, if you are a fan of good authors, you must have seen that they don't make too many short sentences, but neither they make such a big sentence that by the moment you reach at the end of a longer sentence, you forgot what was in the beginning. So there is a mix of both things when you go for a good read. Thank you so much for watching my video. Hope you found the video informative. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It's totally free of cost, and I hope I am helping you by making these videos. And hit the like button and hit the bell icon for all the updates.